Welcome back to Cityline. With me, I have somebody who, well, since I last interviewed this person, they have traveled to Europe and now they're back. This person does not sit still, and we are so grateful because he brings us wonderful music. I am talking about Kareem Kandi of the Kareem Kandi World Orchestra. This is you. You are the executive director. It's so great to see you again. Welcome back, my friend.
It's good to be seen. It's good to be here, as always, and a pleasure to be here to speak with you and the viewers of the city of Tacoma. So thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. And you are in your studio lab basement right now, which I got a little tour of. It's pretty impressive, especially those soundproof tiles above your head.
Kind of. That you're being very kind, and I'll take the nice words. But yeah. It's here. It's here.
It's here. So for people perhaps who have seen you perform, but when I say you are the Kareem Kandi World Orchestra, and they think, World Orchestra, that sounds bigger than what I just saw at a coffee house or at Alma Mater, for instance. So what is the Kareem Kandi World Orchestra?
Well, we do several things. We do classes, educational classes for people of all ages from, not like 2, that's a little bit too young, but from like middle school all the way up to people in their 70s, 80s. They can learn how to improvise and play in ensembles and, spontaneously compose music. We do a lot of performances all over the Pacific Northwest, not just Tacoma, but we do a lot of work in Tacoma as well. So we do performances on a regular basis at McMiniman's the first Sunday of every month, at the Spanish Ballroom, Museum of Glass the third Sunday of every month. We're starting a concert series at the Eastside Community Center in April, end of April. That'll be, I believe, like the last Sunday of every month, at least initially. We're working with the Stadium Business District to start a concert series there in the summertime and to work with them for their Art and Wine Walk. We do a jam session, all ages jam session, that's free and open to the public every Tuesday from 8 to 11 at Giuseppe's. And I should mention, the majority of our programming throughout the year is 100% free and open to the public, most of it. And then we also do international exchanges where we raise funds to go to other countries to teach and perform and play. And it's a combination of musicians from the United States as well as musicians from the countries that we go to. And we go and perform and play and teach there. And most of those things are free and open to the public for the countries that we go to. And then we work with their schools and as well to teach kids and also learn from them. What it was like learning how to play jazz and improvise in those countries. Because a big portion of that is jazz is a language. And just like, you talk to someone from the Midwest or the East Coast or the West Coast, we all speak a little bit differently depending on our generation and how we grew up and our culture. So, learning those things, it's huge as well.
Wow. And amidst all of that, you still perform for just the love of performing.
Well, yeah, I think particularly jazz, or if in 2022, if you're going to undertake a full-time job as a musician, you have to love it. You have to love it. I love music, and jazz is like 1% of the music industry, but I love, I don't think I could be in a cover band where you're playing the same songs the same way every single night, day in, day out. With jazz or spontaneous composition, it's even if you play the same song, it's never going to played the same way twice, depending on the musicians that you're working with. So it's always new. One, you can write brand new songs and compositions, but even when you improvise, those solos are brand new compositions in and of themselves. So.
Which many people don't realize that when they're sitting and listening to a live jazz performance, it is not a cover band. It is not rote. And because of that, you have to be prepared for anything that can happen on that stage. Does that begin when you start teaching those middle school children that you were talking about when we first opened?
I think so. There's always, yes. I think educating the public is an important thing. And when you have someone that maybe they're not playing any longer, but if they tried to play an instrument, they realize the challenges and the difficulties of doing that, and then they see someone playing an instrument at a high level, they have a deeper appreciation of that, to be sure. I think, it's funny to me, people come up, we'll get done playing a show and people say, I don't like jazz, but I like what you guys play, which is always interesting to me because jazz means so many things to so many different people. And a lot of people take offense to that term. That's why a lot of, great masters, they prefer to call it spontaneous composition, but in the music business side of it, when you have to sell it, so you have to call it something. But I think, there's when I write and play music, there's all these different tiers and levels of people listening. Some people are very knowledgeable. Maybe they're great musicians. Maybe other people are, semi-professional. Maybe they played in school. Maybe they just like listening to music. And some people don't care about music at all. They're just there they're on a date and they're trying to have a nice time. So if you can play music that gets across to everybody, then you're doing your job correctly. That's what I try to do, but sometimes I fail miserably. So
Well, if you fail miserably, I don't think anybody I know who knows you would know about that. How's that?
we get
When,
good at
when
hiding.
you when you say get that out to the world, we're also talking about with the world, because there are international exchanges, as you mentioned, that Kareem Kandi World Orchestra helps to organize. Give us an idea. Like, for instance, the last time I had you on the show, you were leaving for a trip to Europe. What did you do and where were you?
Sure. So we were in the south of France. So I'm an artist for Selmer Saxophones, which is based in Paris. I'm one of their sponsored artists, and I'm also an artist for Daddario Woodwinds. And so our first trip out there, we went to Paris. We couldn't make it work this time just because of the nature of things, because that's where Selmer's main factory is. So we go to the factory and we do some stuff on their behalf. This time we were mostly down in the south of France. So we were in Nice, we were in Biot, which is a sister city of Tacoma. We were in Toulouse. We were in Grasse, Monaco, Saint-Césaire, and it was an interesting mix because Nice is a large city and there's a big jazz community, and not just like jazz, but a great music community in general. And we heard some wonderful musicians and played with some great musicians there. And then we were in a little mountain town of Saint-Césaire, there's like 4,000 people there. But even there were some great musicians and great students. And working in some of the schools, in some of the in Biot and in Grasse, we played for a music conservatory there. There were some wonderful, very talented students and musicians all over the place. And the cool thing is, we might not speak the same language, but as soon as we start playing, we can understand one another. We don't need to say anything. And most of the playing, for the most part, I'd say like 99% of the stuff that we did, we never talked about music at all. We just started playing. So.
My goodness, that just leads me to think, what would our world be like if we all just sat down and played music together?
Yeah,
That's a deep one. You have an upcoming house concert. Tell us where it is and what we can expect.
So the upcoming house concert, well, this week in general, we're presenting the Ollie Jackson Trio. Ollie Jackson is one of the world's top drummers, I would say jazz drummers. His teachers were the great Max Roach and Philly Joe Jones. He comes from a musical family. Oliver Jackson was his father. He used to play with Dexter Gordon and a lot of these great artists. Ollie himself, if you just Googled him, there's tons and tons of information. He has a long association with Wynton Marsalis, jazz at Lincoln Center. He's recorded with Nora Jones, Dee Dee Bridgewater. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. So he's one of the world's top jazz drummers. And with him, he's bringing Omer Avital, who is Israeli, one of the great jazz bassists of our time, currently on the face of the planet, and then also George Colligan. And all of these gentlemen's resumes, if you Google them, they're massive. So, for example, George Colligan currently tours in Jack DeJohnette's trio with Lenny White. He also performs with Buster Williams, and all of these guys played in Miles Davis's band. So, and then George also taught at Juilliard for a couple years. Now he lives down in Portland and teaches down there, but he still goes out on the road and tours with all of these master artists. So, we're presenting these guys 3 different times here in Tacoma. Today, Wednesday the 16th, we're going to be doing a free masterclass, free and open to the public, at the Tacoma School of the Arts. We're partnering with Elements of Education and KNKX to make this free and open to the public. So they'll be doing that from 1 to 2:30. Saturday, we'll be doing a couple of live streams, both interviews and performances. We're still figuring out the live stream time frame for the interviews. The performance will be at 6 p.m. this coming Saturday. And then we'll be doing a concert at the Vayeth Mansion on Sunday. I believe if there's 1 ticket left, that's for almost sold out. So that includes dinner and drinks and the concert. That's from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. And the majority of the proceeds, for that particular concert, I think half the proceeds goes to the band and the rest goes to our France exchange to fund, going and teaching and playing. And then next month we'll be doing another fundraiser there as well. I think it's April 29th. We'll be doing a performance there with the Kareem Kandi World Orchestra, and all of the proceeds will go to the France exchange. So as I mentioned earlier, the majority of our concerts are free and open to the public. Some that we do throughout the year serve as fundraisers to support the programming that we're doing, either educationally or with exchanges with other countries.
I love that. And then You have a composer workshop element that's part of that live stream series. Is that something that you're going to continue to do?
Definitely. So basically, all of the concerts that I mentioned earlier, the things that we do on Sundays, so McMinimans and the Museum of Glass, the things at Ted Brown and also the East Side Community Center, because we're broadcasting those on the internet, we're always composing brand new original music for every single show. So how that works is we always have a different guest artist for the most part, and we'll interview them for an hour. And those are so all these concerts are hybrid, so you can attend in person or online. The majority of them. And so we'll interview the guest artist for about an hour or 45 minutes, then open up the last 15 minutes for questions so the audience can be there in real time or online to ask questions. Of the artist, and they'll talk about their history and their background and upbringing. And there's all these different artists from all over the place, different walks of life. And then we do the concerts, and the concerts are also streamed. And all of these things are also archived, cataloged on our YouTube channel. But it's all original music. So we're not just presenting concerts, but we're also composing brand new original pieces every single week. And that's been cool too, to collaborate with these different artists from all over the place and be able to present this music and write. So some of the concerts, like the jam session on Tuesday, we're just playing, songs from the Great American Songbook and things of that nature. But all of the live stream things that we're doing, it's brand new original compositions that we're doing all the time.
Impressive. So, okay, last question. Where are your bags packed for what's coming next? You were just in France.
Yeah.
So where do I expect to see you on social media next?
Well, I mean, I'm going to be around the Pacific Northwest, Washington, Portland. That's kind of the mainstay for now. We're talking about, we were invited to come back to France for a festival, not this summer because it was booked, but it's next summer we'll be back in Europe. But I think because of the school obligations and the club obligations, it's going to be twice. So we're looking at one more time to Europe in the fall, this coming fall if possible. And then that would be for the school year. And this all depends on COVID and the state of the world right now. Who knows what that's going to be. But we're talking about, so it would be a split, like part of the time during the school year to work with the schools, and then summertime as well. So that's we're mapping it all right now out because we just got back. But while we were in France this last time, we did there was a woman, the first tour that we went, Clark Terry, the great trumpeter and composer, his niece lives in Nice, and so she came to our concert and liked our music, and so we're collaborating on some pieces with her, and so we're talking about bringing her to Tacoma to talk about her uncle and his massive legacy, and to do some playing, because she's the principal cellist for the Nice Symphony. So I'm doing some pieces right now that I've written. We're doing a partnership with the Northwest Sinfonietta at the end of this year, so I'm writing it's for jazz quartet and string quartet. So we're premiering that music in November, and dovetailing with that, we'll be writing some pieces to be commissioned for her string group in France, and then also our group here. So there's a lot of stuff in the works that's coming, but I don't have any hard, fast dates yet, but they're coming. So.
Kareem, you never sit still, and wherever you land, you bring us great music. And we've been showing your website, so our family can hop on and see what's coming up and keep track of your travels. As always, thank you, thank you, thank you. More than ever, we need reasons to bring us together. We need the powerful healing element of music, whether it's a national anthem that's being played in a town square, or it's the look on a middle schooler's face when they hear their first Miles Davis lick. Either way, Kareem, you are doing such good for us. So thank you so very much. And I want to have you back on sooner than later.
I would love that very much, and thank you for being such a gracious host and for all the good work you guys are doing at Cityline and TV Tacoma. We appreciate it.